School system. I'm not sure where we left off. I wasn't at the last meeting. I listened to most of it. I mean, if there's no problem. So, where are we at? Where do we need to go on this?
We were considering asking them for a reduction in the amount we contribute to them because they have lost students. And the official count from the central office is 54 down this year.
For students?
Yes. It's been going down year after year. We have been carrying it as is. Each time we do, we lock ourselves into how much we have to give them. Because we can't take it back once we get it. And we're at a point now where we're relying on government handouts just to balance the budget. There are no raises outside of the school system other than the elected officials, which the state mandated we had to give. So we're looking to save money somewhere. Schools, they spend it, we have to come up with it. And unless we raise taxes, we can't keep doing it. There's things in the budget that we've gone through and looked at, and we're just questioning. They may be perfectly legitimate, and it might pass just as is. I don't know. If it's needed the way it is. But things like, I noticed you zeroed out most of the bonus payments. Some are left in. Is there a reason why some are left in and some are out?
Which ones were left in?
On page 3, there's 35,000.
That was left in because that is the evaluation scale. When teachers have a 4 or 5 evaluation, they do get that bonus.
Okay.
That is that one
So
line.
that's one that doesn't end up the state you have to put in, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And all the other are out.
That clears it up.
Yeah.
Substitutes. Last year you spent $60,000, but you're going to spend $114,000 next year. That's a $54,000 increase. Is there a reason why you have more substitutes next year?
Nobody substitute last year because of COVID. They actually had the teachers cover 2 classes, I think, most of it, because it's short on substitute.
So was the year before when we didn't have COVID?
Well,
Was it
that's when it started.
115,000?
That's when it started.
That number years ago was more than that, and we have since then really, the state has come in to do the highly qualified teachers and all that. The teachers are really not missing as many days, but if you don't budget enough to cover that with the lack of funds that we have, and that 114,000 has just been the number that has been in there. But at the end of the year, that is money that we can move elsewhere, but I would dare put that money down, because when you have teachers that do get sick and you don't have money to cover them, or pregnancy, because you don't know how many teachers are going to be pregnant, because the first 20 days are substitute teacher pay no matter what, and then it goes in there. So that is a number that can come or go. That's.
What is the lowest you've ever spent in a year?
Well, 114,000 was the most we ever spent in a year, and it's been about 5 or 6 years ago. And our substitute teachers are only making $55 a day, and that's barely getting a minimum wage. I don't know that if they raise minimum wage, that will have to go up if minimum wage is raised. Their salary will have to go up, so on their pay.
Is there any salary increases in here for teachers or anybody else,
Yeah, the
other than steps?
uh,
Was there any state raise or anything?
yeah, the 3% on the, what we call the local side, and then when you, not the state side, but the local side is how the scales broke down. There's no more than probably $200 on the highest paid teacher we have in the system for the year, but it goes on the steps, and that was, we do for differentiated pay, we have to do something every year. That is a state thing, that according to our methodology, we have to do something. And when I did call Monroe County and Meigs County to ask them what they were doing, some were giving 4% and 5%, but there was no way we could do that. And that was the number that we kind of thought we could maintain through the years, because it's very insignificant when you put it on that side. So it's not going to amount to $10 to $15 on a paycheck every month. But that is in addition to their pay step.
So you increased the local.
It's called local when you break it down.
I've been asked, Shelley, I said I wasn't at the last meeting, and I hadn't really had time to dig in or anything, which is what it is, y'all have a board. But is there a increase for coaches or something?
Oh, yes, there is an increase for, Steve, do you remember what that was?
10% increase in coaching supplements that haven't been adjusted in over 20 years. Now, there have been some positions, there has been some positions added in the last few years. They do fall under that increase. But coaching supplements have not been adjusted in about 2 decades.
I had somebody mention that to me the other day, and I think this is a good idea. What about, paying the coaches on performance? I mean, that's what colleges do.
I know colleges.
You win this
Wish
many
we
games.
were UT and had posters, but we don't.
No, it don't
But
mean
the
that they must.
thing we're getting to is,
If they want that raise, let them perform. But,
I mean, this is
Well,
I think-
$4,500 here.
seems like the community takes care of that pretty well.
Yeah.
We don't do it, I don't think we have to do that.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, you got people that could be coaching now that won't coach because they can make more money working 4 hours a day driving a bus.
right.
Twice as much as you get with some coaching supplement when you got to work with kids all year and maintain your fields and everything else. There's a lot more goes into it than just the hours that they're coaching. I mean, if you look at baseball, softball, football, they got a lot of maintenance on their fields. And these coaches are usually the ones doing that maintenance. So in the past, we've tried to do something for our non-certified people. We've tried to do something for our bus drivers, little increments. We haven't done anything for coaches in 2 decades. So we felt like it was time to do a little something for them. We're still way behind the area. I mean, there's a coach right across the line who gets about $7,000 a year just to maintain his field. You know, we're paying a 15-year coach $4,500 to coach. Well, they can make $10,000 driving the bus. So, or 12. So, I mean, the total amount of the coaching supplements in total is going to be about $20,000 added, and we did adjust that with another line item in the budget to balance it. It's not like it's not been balanced in this budget. We did that on, and Treva can tell you the lines that we did it on, but we made sure it balanced out. It's an increase for them, but it's not an increase in the budget.
It's still money we've got to come up with.
It's money that's there that we've changed lines on.
You know, it's money in your budget we've changed on, but it's money we've got to come up with. Unless you get it out of the state DEP.
Not if we balanced it inside the budget already, the budget that we're given.
In other words, they're not asking for the additional.
Right, it's an
I
addition.
understand that, but it's still,
Still maintenance effort.
Yeah.
on page 5, 7213599, other charges.
What is it?
7213599, other charges. This year it was 66,000, next year it's 225,000. What is the other charges?
That's where I said the BEP 2.0 was. We always put it in, that 225,000. It's the 2.0 that is set aside as 225,000. That's all the money that we had in the past that took care of all of our technology, supplies, everything that we've done with our schools in technology before ESSER, before all of this, and will continue after ESSER is gone to be our only supply technology money that we will have. So what we do is we put it in that line item, and then our supervisors and people get together, they decide what programs is needed throughout the school for the next year, and then that goes into what category, and it's divided out in the 72130 category. It don't do it on the BEP here because you can't break it up by sub-fund, but then the 225 is broken out in software. There's a $55,000 in the 790 where it's computer equipment that we give to Apple lease, that we lease computers for our schools, but that one pot of money has been there for the last 8 years probably, that BEP set aside for just that purposes. We can't use it for anything else. And that's probably one of the line items that, well, I'm looking the 200, I know the 225,000. Yeah, that's 599, and then you can go, if I had broken it down other places, I wish the BEP was there, but it just goes into different places. Like, well, you can see the BEP if you go right above it, 499, 174, 975. That, if you look over in the explanation, it says BEP. The 399 says BEP. So that's what that is.
On page 6, near the bottom, there's 2 objects not in use. What are the objects not in use? One's for 50,000 and one's for 10,000.
Those are new technology. That is for internet access. Those were put in a couple of years ago. Like we pay ENA for their services, and like internet access and communication, I believe are those. And I'm not sure why local government, maybe I need to call and have them, I'm not sure why that says object not in use, but those are 2 fairly new expenditure line items.
To Mr. Despina's point, that heading object not in use used to be in every section.
I know it was
And I
on
talked,
24 for a long
we
time.
talked about that a couple of years ago, and we said that wasn't a very good wording, and those have pretty much been taken out over the last 5 years. It mostly was professional development fell under that category. And those have, that's
So
been,
when we see object not in use, we have.
absolutely, you don't know what it is, and I didn't like that either, but that's most of those have been renamed.
It's new chart of accounts
Yeah.
added.
I agree that probably needs a better heading than object not in use. That's kind of vague.
The next question I have is, what kind of fringe benefits do y'all get?
Get in
Who?
the football
Board.
game is free.
The Board of
Well,
Education?
There's $75,000 here for fringe benefits.
That's retiree insurance payments. We have to pay it out of a line item. That's for retiree health insurance.
So I'm getting $88 a month.
There you go. And the dental
I didn't know if they
premiums.
sent y'all to Hawaii every year.
$88 a month.
We need a light bill, man, I guess 92.
I got a sports pass, is that?
Yeah, we did get sports passes.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't get one for baseball, but I got one for Polk County. They gave us a sports pass, so give me that ball.
I'll give them a Polk County.
We'll have to talk to our principals about that.
and y'all get free food
That's when a retiree
At the
retires.
what?
board meetings, you all get.
Yeah, we did get fed usually.
Is that many more retirees this year, up to $75?
Well, I keep it at around 75,000 because it used to be a lot more than that, and a lot of our retirees have come off of the system. But I don't want to lower that because when retirees retire and that number's not there, I don't know who's retiring and who's not, because then that's going to be anywhere from $200 to $400 a month that I'm going to have to come up with. So
Don't they have to notify the board by March 31st if they're gonna retire and get benefits?
I'm not sure about that, but I'm just saying that's been a lot more than
That's
that in
what
the
the
past.
memorandum of understanding says. So that should be set, you should know by March 31st, how much you're gonna have to put out for retirees.
Well, it may be true, but it's been a lot more of that in the past. And I don't know their age when they come off of the medical retirement. I don't know when they come off of that.
65.
Yeah, but I don't keep up with them after they retire, what age they are. I have no way of knowing that.
So does that maybe need to be reworded too, instead of fringe benefits for the retirees?
Well, I can't reword like this. This is like set in there. I asked my finance director at the state where I should put that, and she just told me that it would be better to go there. You know, there's not a really lot of places.
I've got one question, just because it caught my attention, like this, on this one, 72,210, 188. I mean, it's not that much, it's just the way it reads is kind of odd. It's 500, budget is 4,596, and then.
Yeah, that was this year. There's nothing budgeted this year.
Right, that's what is that?
That was the ESSER funds, the ESSER bonus payments that went through this past year.
Okay, so that's why it's.
That was that one-time bonus, yeah.
It come in as flow through type.
Yeah, it's already came and gone.
Well, I'll say this for men on the school board. And two, as far as Dewey's doing right by looking, as far as county commissioner, that's his job. But I've seen this from my years on the school board. There is a reduction of students, but the problem is, cutting the money would have merit if those 54 students all come out of second grade class at Benton Elementary and it wiped out a whole grade level, then you could get rid of 2 teachers. Or if miraculously all 54 of them was an entire bus route, you get rid of the bus driver, the bus and maintenance. But when you get a few from each school, you know, it really takes an old liability away. You get 6 from Benton Elementary and 8 from the minute. But what he's saying would be feasible, very feasible, but it would have to be like the whole, those 60 students would have to be like an entire first grade class at the same school. And then you could, you know, cut 2 teachers and save that money. But the way it's distributed throughout the county, it's hard to, it really don't take no liability off the school system. That drop, it's a numbers game. If the drop was 300, then yes, but the drop is always, it's just, you know, not enough.
According to the training we went to a couple weeks ago, state, you know, everybody saw decreases. You got parents that were afraid they can't send kids back to school. You got parents that were out of work and could stay home and kept their kids home. These numbers, I think, were artificially high this year then we should see those return. Look, going forward now that COVID's getting taken care of. Once parents have to go back to work again, and they're gonna have to either send their kids to school or pay for babysitters, they're not gonna be able to sit at home with them. I can't imagine that student numbers won't go back up. So I would, I understand our numbers are down, but I would have to make a knee-jerk reaction and decrease local funding, and then those numbers go back up, and then we're behind. I understand that's well within your rights to ask for that under maintenance of effort, because it is an exception. But then we get into the question of, when you look at what amount of our budget is actually coming from local. You look at Blount County, their local percentage is 45% of their school budget. Bradley County's is 30%. Cleveland's is 34%. McMinn County's is 24%. Athens City is 33% local. Etowah is 24% local. Monroe County is 23% local. Sweetwater is 24% local. Ray County is 24% local. David City is 21% local. Sequatchie County is 23.8% local. Polk County is 19.27% local. So we're 10 to 15 to 20% behind neighboring counties in local funding for education. And I don't blame that on the commission. You all do the best you can do with what we get coming in. And we're very appreciative of it. You've always been supportive of the school system. And we try to be good stewards of the money. But when we look at what us as a county invest in the children here, and I understand children don't have a vote, okay? Children don't have a vote. They're easy to pick them, okay? They don't vote. But by golly, parents and grandparents do. And I would hate to see us be somewhat short-sighted on cutting local funding because of a one-year spike during a COVID situation.
Well, here's another thing, and I don't have good information on this. I've been looking at these numbers. I've been requested to get the average daily attendance and average daily membership, which I got the other day. I think Commissioner Espinosa followed up, got the previous year, the other day after the meeting. Now I've got a call in to the Physical Education Director, Mary Ann Gursky, on the formula. My understanding is, even if the commission wanted to push the reduction by student numbers, that formula is actually done by, from what I was told today, it's done by the state.
Yes, and it's
They're the ones that will do it, and it is somehow tied with BEP formula.
Well, the BEP formula, let me give you a little clarification. A lot of people think that the BEP formula is a budget, but the BEP formula is not a budget. The BEP formula is a guideline for funding.
Right.
And there's a couple of different things that make it up. BEP is important to note that BEP is neither a spending plan nor a budgetary document. It is strictly a funding formula, and the physical capacity index is determined for your county through a couple of different avenues. They have a couple of different things. One is called the TASER rating, and the other is, yeah. So, they look at different models to determine a county's ability to pay, and it goes for that. So that, like you said, the state kind of determines, what our ability is.
If it is tied in with that formula, what I was getting at,
Right.
I understand that there is a held harmless clause
Yes, absolutely.
on BEP, so I don't know even if the commission wanted to reduce.
This year is a whole harmless.
This year or next year.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, that's
But
something
they also
to
reserve the right to do the following year if the student population is still down.
But the state is not holding anyone
That'd be not.
harmful, so we are being held harmless for that
I don't know
now.
how long they've been off.
They help.
They said we're not gonna take away from this year.
Coming up.
Right.
Not permanent.
In case it's just
But
temporary.
you're wanting to cut this year coming up.
That's what I'm saying.
Not for last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
From what I understand, if it's held harmless, we can't touch
Right.
this.
That's my
We're getting
understanding.
30 o'clock to close 7 o'clock. I make a motion to accept the school board.
I have another question for you.
Second.
We have a motion by Bruce, second by Kenny. Now, any discussion, and
I still have another question.
you has any questions?
How are y'all gonna get by with this $10,000 worth of diesel next year?
Drive slow.
So-
Did I fit- I figured the parents could bring the kids to school.
What line, page, what line, Mr. Dude?
Page 9. Says you got $10,000 budget for diesel and $20,000 for gasoline. You're gonna run out pretty quick.
Certainly do. Oh, I've got 175 in vehicle parts. That's,
You what?
the next line item down is 175,000 in vehicle parts. That's not right.
That probably should have been reversed.
So I'll have to do an amendment on that.
For diesel.
Yes. So those will have to be amended out of that 175 there. I'll have to do an amendment once it's passed, but those are just 3 in the same series.
Any other discussion?
One thing I want to make a comment on, we're here with the budget and I will vote to pass it, I mean, as far as that goes. But I do want to make one little comment. I don't like the fact that every time we question something, that we're condemned, that we are going to kill the county. Every kid in this county is going to take something away from them. If we ask that the budget, that you try to work on the budget, that's not what it's about, and I don't feel like that is a fair assessment when we ask that, because our job is to ask questions, and lots of times they're tough. And it's not to take away from any child, any way, form, or fashion. And it's no vendetta against the school system. I have nothing against nobody. I feel like most everybody does a superb job. But I don't like to be condemned when we ask questions and we question your board as we're a board. And I don't like that persona that I kind of have got. Because it was already circulating last night. So I just want to say that, I mean, you know, let's just try not, I don't want anybody to misconstrue that just because we question and we try to see if there's anything y'all can do. It's a question, not a command, that if there's anything you can do, please do it. Because people call us. I don't know how much you get called now.
Well, I
you know,
did, especially when we cut
but-
15 teachers over
Yeah.
the last couple of years.
So
Yeah.
you know, I mean, that's
So I
where
agree.
I just want to make that statement that, you know, we're just, everybody needs to try to save every dollar they can save.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I don't care what department it is, because we're broke. And, you know, and everybody wants to get at your hearts and your heartstrings when you say the word kids. And they make you look bad when they think that you're trying to take away something from them. And that's, you know, that's not where we're at, or it's not where I'm at. I mean, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but you know, but,
Well, I appreciate that, and,
Yeah.
and apologies if you felt like that was a personal attack,
yeah.
but I'm just saying, you know,
Right.
it's been tough for our board. I've been on the board 7 years now, and we've had to cut over 15 teachers to try to balance budgets, so we didn't request any more money.
Right.
And
Well, and I mean, that's the name of the game. I mean, you know, everybody, no matter what you are or what you, when the money's not there, cutoffs, layoffs happen. And I mean, it's just, it's the bad part of jobs. I mean, my husband used to stay laid off more when he went to work for the railroad. I mean, he stayed working, you know. I mean, it just goes with it. And everybody can't always fix that problem, you know.
And we appreciate the council, they have always been supportive of education. When it hurt, I mean, the guidance that they gave to purchase the property a few years ago, knowing at some point when I talked about schools, we've held off there. We said we were going to try to do it in 5 years. It's not going to be 5 years, but we haven't pushed for that. We're trying to do the best we can with buildings that have ceilings that are falling in on our kids. So, yeah, we get calls. Believe me, we get calls. When a tile falls out of the ceiling, we get calls.
I hate to cut this off short, but we are running late to commission meeting. If there's something that's just, what is y'all's total request this year?
$2,479,519.
Yeah, that's what, yep, all of that, yep.
Okay, and last year's number was $2,438,044.
And that's, I don't have,
It says budgetary basis 24.
yeah, that was the year,
That was his current budget years, not. That's what was budgeted, $2,438,044. That's what it says, budget basis.
okay.
And you have used $2,285,555.
Well, that's
which is
ju-
estimated current
That's just through,
June 20.
no, well, we've not even been, that doesn't have my May, I mean, my June and July revenues in there. Because I don't have them yet. You know, it just updates as I get them, that middle column.
Right, you've got it estimated through June 2021.
Is this not a estimated budget?
Well, I'm not sure, local government, they do estimate, so I guess this is estimated. Yeah.
And you're asking for $2,479,000, which is an increase of how much? $41,000.
I only prorate the property tax, which is the same as last year.
Yeah, that's, I just called about the property tax.
Yeah, I gave the top line, the 40110 is the number I gave.
And the rest stayed exactly the same from the year before. Is this
But the current property tax is $2,118,022, and it's projected $2,174,000, which is a difference of 50.
Yeah, I don't have that.
I mean, on proration after, because that goes to the 92.5% collection.
The only number I changed was the property tax, and I got that from Patrice, and that's the only number I changed.
We did, I set the rate to match last year's number, what it was. If that number was wrong on their side last year, but that's what we gave them last year. That's what we prorated for them.
The $2,118,000.
No.
No, 2,174,519.
2174, I got it as close to that number again as I could, based off the numbers I had from last year.
What number's that? Which number?
2,174,519, and then the other numbers down through there, I did not change in the budget from last year.
What was your proration increase on the schools?
year?
Yeah, for this, projected year.
It's, 0.7010.
Have you got a calculator with you, Teresa?
And the budgetary basis is the actual revenue that came in 2020, and the estimated budget is what's come in as of now.
Well, now, your budgetary basis should have been what y'all were, your actual budget number.
No, it is, if I'm thinking correctly, it is what we actually received.
No, not unless that's under the wrong heading. Your basis is your budget. That's what was given to you. Your second column should be your estimated budgeted or year-to-date.
It is year-to-date,
That's the second column.
yes.
So you could have a lower or higher number than your budgeted column, depending on your budget numbers. But your actual basis should be your actual budget that you are operating off of this year. Unless y'all's is just completely different on that column. Chris, that proration amount you used, you compare it against the penny's worth, and just make sure that's what is reflected on the
I've
document.
done the, it is. I have the whole spreadsheet right here in front of me, that's what it is.
That is the proration, and we're still in the same proration.
Last year, we gave them 2,170,661 compared to the 2,174 that was supposed, I guess, is like to get it, so.
As long as the proration's the same, we're good to go.
All right.
But they're saying they're asking for more money, but they're asking for 41,475.
That's money that goes to the Gina's office and is divvied up to them. It's not like they're asking for it from the fund balance. They're only gonna get what comes in.
Yeah,
Prorated to go
they
there.
only get the actual amount that's received, not the amount.
And if we don't bring in 2.17 for them, they're not gonna get it.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is.
That proration only come in if it comes in at full capacity, not in full population.
Which, by the way, we did hit our collection mark this year. Already.
What did y'all spend the extra sales tax money on?
We don't.
You don't get to
line
spend
item.
anything on sales tax.
We
You
don't
talk about
line
the
stuff
1/4%
out.
increase that goes into a fund.
0.5%.
The 0.5%
Yeah.
goes into a fund, doesn't it?
Designated fund.
Designated fund.
The escrow can't be spent on other youth schools construction.
Absolutely.
Have you corrected that number yet?
No, I've not done anything. I've got to call in, but
I sent the formula that you sent me a couple of weeks ago to CTAS this morning, and they were going to review the formula and make sure the spreadsheet was accurate.
Right.
But I have not heard back from them.
yeah. Thank you.
Yes, I got a motion the second to accept as presented, and it is 10 after. Any other discussion? Roll call. Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Kinsey.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yeah.
Commissioner Crampton.
Yes.
Commissioner Pippenchurch, yes. Commissioner Espinal.
Yes.
Commissioner Wood.
Yes.
Commissioner Dean.
Yes.
Mark, here is. Oh, Brooks, I didn't forget that.
Do
Do I hear a motion to send the school board budget to the full commission?
Motion.
a motion by Escanor, do I have a second? Second by Trantham. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Like sign opposed. It's gone. All right, thank y'all.